Greetings. With the recent passing of Tazadakia, the leader of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, certain members of Great Millstone have occasionally made vague passing references to a physical confrontation which had happened between the ICGJC and the group now called GMS back in 2005. Just to be clear, GMS took on the name Great Millstone, quote-unquote Great Millstone, around 2007 when people started referring to the group by the name of its first YouTube account. So in this video, when I refer to the group back in 2005, I'll be referring to them as either Proto-GMS or the group now called GMS. Whatever the case, because many are unfamiliar with the story of the encounter, of the physical confrontation between the two groups, but many of those same people would probably find it interesting, I wanted to attempt to piece together some of what happened for the historical record. So this video is intended as yet another contribution to the historical record on One West history. Now, I recognize that some of this will feel a bit like I'm trafficking in sensationalist gossip. Nonetheless, I wanted to compile some of the bits of information that I have, some of it in the form of video footage of others discussing it, and some of it in the form of what was told to me in private conversations. What I share here is naturally incomplete, and naturally it comes with a certain margin of error, but I hope this contribution might further the conversation and get others to share more information on the subject. By the way, quick warning, there will be a number of places where profanity is employed in this video, so the audio is not suitable for various settings like work, etc. So, listener discretion is advised. To begin, back on April 10th, Tahar, the leader of GMS, was discussing the passing of Tazadakia, and he made a passing reference to the ICGJC, quote-unquote, jumping members of GMS. But he gets distracted and loses focus, and he doesn't finish the thought. Nonetheless, listen to this brief clip and his brief reference at the end.
Gotta be the fact that he's dead. He said he died on April 1st, and that's pretty much it. My thing is this: at first when I heard it, I kind of felt bad because he got family, but then another side of me is like, yo, fuck him, man, because he jumped a couple of oh, by the way, I showed you I should have went down the other block.
Now, I realize that wasn't exactly very clear, so I'll also note that a few days earlier, while at camp, the GMS elder Manatazak also made a passing reference to GMS getting quote-unquote jumped by members of the ICGJC.
Acts 5:38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone.
Right. It came to the point where they even jumped us. All right, in the spirit world or not, they jumped us over what? Over the word, man. All right, over because we was sitting there teaching the scriptures, man.
Now, on the other side, about 11 and a half years ago, the ICGJC rap group known as the Byzantine Kings put out what's popularly known as a diss track. It was titled Straight Outta Hell by St. Basil, who's currently an apostle in the ICGJC. And in that rap video, the St. Basil addressed a number of different rival groups, such as GMS, Light and Body Church, which was the precursor to GOCC, House of Israel, and the new ISUPK. Here, I'm going to play the entire segment on GMS, which is about 40 seconds long, but I ask that you focus in particular on what is said at the end.
Yo, these niggas come straight out of hell. There's a rebel camp called GMS, led by Tahar and all of his BS. Got a few chumps, thinking got a few goons. These niggas count Sabbaths from the new moon. Friday, sundown to Saturday, sundown. These niggas is demons, they straight defiling it. The truth, they out of it, fake and counterfeit. Everything they teach, we straight confounding it. The Sabbath ain't 7 days from the new moon. You don't count from the moons, you damn buffoons. It's blasphemous. The moon was made the 4th day and the Sabbath was 3 days after it. You fat bastard, you gay and you negative. You niggas about to get ran out of Connecticut. So stay on the internet running your lips, but you ain't been back with 1/2 straight out of hell.
All right. Did you catch the portion at the end where St. Basil says, quote, you ain't been back on 1/2, end quote? I'll play it one more time.
So stay on the internet running your lips, but you ain't been back with 1/2.
Now, I played those disparate clips because they all allude to the same single encounter, that being the one that's the subject of this video, but one unfamiliar with the details of that encounter may be left wondering what the fuller story there might be. To my knowledge, the most detailed description of the encounter on video came from Roha of GMS back in 2008. So I'm going to play a couple minutes from that, though up front I should say that one should keep in mind that this is from GMS's perspective, and thus it naturally will neglect to mention certain details. Nonetheless, here's Roha's description of the encounter.
Spirit is telling me that this guy got his little spies out in the audience coming up here. You know what, man? We're going to say this, we're going to say it just once. All right? We're going to say this, we're going to say this only once. That little low-life black motherfucker better stay his ass up in Harlem, man. Because you know what? The last time, right, there was an altercation, and them niggas came and surrounded this camp up on 125th Street.
There was 9 of us there that day.
9 brothers against all them faggots up
They
there.
had about 60 or 70 niggas.
And they rolled up on brothers and they jumped on brothers. Now, me myself, I wasn't there. Me to certain brothers wasn't there that day. Right? Then them little low-life cocksuckers did what they did, and they got over on that, right? But they came and they jumped on the camp. That was mistake number 1. I got some news for you, man. Just you for you little spies that's with that dude. You niggas, man. You niggas, man. You roll up on us again, it's not gonna be like the last time. That's all we got to say. That's all we gonna say. We want you to roll up on us again, please, please. Okay? Please, man. Please roll up on us again. Go back and tell that motherfucker that. Okay? For you little spies. Okay? Go back and tell him to come on today. Now, to us and Elder, now that nigga, when they jumped on the camp and did what they did, that dude, the discomforter, was standing there talking a lot of crap. Tell Tahar, he's nuts. Tell Tahar, we coming to get him. That was going off. The scripture said rebuke not an elder, man. Now, Tahar's an elder to that nigga, so he was going off. And I'm gonna say this again, man. The niggas, man, they try to roll up on us again, it's gonna be dead. Y'all can do it if you want to. Y'all can do it if you want to, but it's gonna be bad, man.
It didn't look good the first time when they did it either.
Okay? You guys made yourself look real bad.
And they recorded it too.
Yeah.
They had a nigga standing across the street recording the whole thing.
I want to interrupt here for a quick moment. Upon hearing that the encounter was recorded, one is likely to immediately wonder, where's the footage of that actual encounter then? About a decade ago, I spoke with a former member of the ICGJC who was involved in that fight, and he told me what happened with that. It turns out that the call to run out there and confront the men in the group now called GMS, Proto-GMS, came quite suddenly that day, and so the men involved rushed out hastily. One member of the ICGJC did bring a video camera, and he did attempt to record the encounter, but according to the person I spoke with, the battery was not charged for that video camera, and thus little to no actual footage was captured. Anyway, with that, back to GMS's description of the encounter.
Now, when you come down with 60 niggas to jump on 9 people, them people ain't supposed to walk away. You niggas didn't look too good that day either. You got it recorded. Some of you niggas went to the hospital. None of us went to the hospital. You fucking faggots. You fucking pussies. I was there that day too. You fucking pussies.
But that's not what it was supposed to be about.
But that's not what we about, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. But we just putting it out there. Them niggas had a nigga across the street with a camera recording the whole thing. When you come with 60 people on 9 people, them people supposed to leave in ambulances or go to the morgue. Some of them went to the hospital, none of us did.
So that covers most of GMS's description of the fight from the description they gave on that day back in 2008. However, the same day that Roha gave that description, he also discussed another topic, which is more related to the brawl than some may appreciate. So here, in the footage I'm about to show, Roha recounts the more ecumenical spirit that his camp, the group now called GMS, the ecumenical or cordial spirit that they once had towards other Israelite groups, including the main school, the ICUBK, and then later the ICGJC after the name change. However, when the ICGJC put together a DVD about other Israelite groups, they used Proto-GMS's erstwhile cordiality against them. So here I'm going to play Roha's discussion on that, and then I'll show a few clips from the DVD itself.
We was up there in Harlem teaching the word, man. First of all, we never even said nothing about that dude Black Hiller. Prior to the incident that went down back in 2005, prior to that, we wasn't even saying nothing about him. If anything, we was just out there teaching the word. That's all we was doing, minding our own business, man.
We used to salute them when they came by.
And then furthermore, when we saw them guys, we used to salute them. Why? Because Ariyah and Shaw was still with that school. And we always maintained that Ariyah and Shaw were men of the Lord, because those are two of the men that we came up under. We acknowledged that. We ain't nowhere in the world we said, look, man, fuck Ariyah. Man, look, man, we was always with Ariyah, even when we split. Now, when the split went down with Mo and Ariyah, we left with Masha. That's right, because we gonna stick with Masha. That was about 96. So we was sticking with Masha, but we still respected Ariyah, man. Yep. Even though the split went down, it was always maintained. Look, you brothers are not to go around talking bad about Ariyah. And the brothers, they're still Israel. We split, we went out separate, we still brothers. Okay? Then the different splits went down and all this other bullshit went down, right? Now, we was out there speaking in Harlem. We wasn't messing with this comforter. We wasn't messing with him. Matter of fact, we respected them guys. Matter of fact, a little bit before that incident went down, we ran into Ariyah on the street, right across the street from where we were speaking. Me, Tahar, Gabar, for you brothers who know who Tahar and Gabar is. And we ran up to him, hey, Shalom, we were happy to see him. He saluted us, we talked to him. He had his woman with him that day. Then another day we were speaking, and then Ariyah and Shaw came, and we were speaking. We stopped the whole camp and gave them a salute. Still respected them like we've always respected them, even though we're not in the school with them, okay? We wasn't even thinking about Taza Blacks. We weren't even thinking about him. Now, one night we was on 125th speaking, and he came, the chief comforter, whatever. He rolled up, and he had some other guy with him, and they had a camera. He walked by, he rolled up on the camp, and then I seen him, he seen us, and he said, hey, Shalom, brother, because me and that nigga used to hang out. So me and him was always cool. I never had no beef with him, okay? So we seen him, I saw him, I said, hey, Shalom. He said, Shalom. We saluted each other, hey, what's up, brother? Long time no see. Blase, you know, small talk. But then we heard rumors that he had kicked Ariyah out of school. We didn't say that. We didn't make it up. We heard a rumor. So when we seen him, we confronted him about it. I said, yo, brother, we heard rumors. I don't know if it's true. I heard that guy put Ariyah out of school. Then he said, no, brother, that ain't true. That's a rumor. Ariyah's up at the school right now. You go see him. He invited me to come to the school. His brother was there.
Yeah, I was there that day.
He recorded it. It's on tape. Then I said, okay, brother, I'm glad to hear that because, you know, hey, man, Ariyah is a man of the Lord. Shaw is a man of the Lord. It was all good. Then we said, hey, Shalom, okay, Shalom. And then him and his cohort went their way. So we thinking at that point, everything was cool. We didn't start nothing. We saw the guy, we respected him, right? Then later on, they come by the camp and we hear that they got a tape talking about the rebels, and we was on the tape. And they recorded that conversation. So basically, they were trying to say that we said that Ariyah's out. No, motherfucker, it's on the tape. I questioned him about it because we heard that Ariyah was out to school. So see how the nigga twisted the whole...
So the quote-unquote tape that Roha was referring to was a DVD put out by the ICGJC in 2005 titled, quote, Purge Out the Rebels from Among You, end quote. Before that DVD came out, the camp now called GMS was, as I said, more cordial towards other Israelite groups. That had to do with the fact that during the initial days of the House of David, Masha had encouraged them to tone down their rage towards the main school. So anyway, in 2005, roughly speaking, Tzaddakia stopped by Proto-GMS's camp in Harlem one day and recorded a friendly exchange between himself and Roha. Then that exchange was put into the relevant DVD with commentary from Arya, Shar, and Tazadakia himself. The end result did not reflect favorably upon the group now called GMS. The DVD actually covered a number of different Israelite groups, but here I'm going to play portions which are relevant to specifically GMS. I ask that you forgive the low quality of this footage.
First of all, since you had, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
We heard different things in the air. I'm gonna just come straight, brother. Me and you know each other going way back.
Going way back.
Me and this brother go back a few years. What's the deal with Arya, man? The stuff we heard about Arya.
What y'all heard about Arya?
Wait, we heard, I'm gonna tell you, we heard y'all put Arya out to school, man.
Nah, Arya's still in the school. Shia ain't in the school no more.
Okay, well, that's good.
Shia's out. Shia's out.
Look, brother, let me tell you, me and you, matter of fact, we done went to war together.
Yeah, you know that. We done grabbed some sticks.
No, yeah, right?
You from One West, right? You came out of One West, right?
Brother, you know I was there when you came in.
Yeah.
You go back.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, because I'm saying I don't know how accurate. Like I said, we just hearing stuff in the wind.
You can ask me anything.
And I heard Arya was out to school.
Nah, Arya's still in. He's up there now.
Okay, cool. All right, well, good. Now, Yeshaya is the devil.
All right.
You know, I used to tell you that years ago, back when we used to hang out on Arad Gotcha's porch on 126. I said, Yeshaya is the devil. Yeshaya ain't right.
Right.
That nigga should have got kicked out years ago.
Yeshaya and Kazak is not there no more.
Well, you know what? That's a good move.
They're the ones that. Shaw and Arya are still in.
Oh, well, that's beautiful, because Shaw and Arya are men of the Lord.
Right.
We ain't with you guys, but we'll still acknowledge that Arya's a man. Matter of fact, we saw Arya about last year, right across the street. We talked to him.
Right.
Like you see that we haven't left the church. So these are rumors and lies that different groups are spreading out there. And all that's going to be dealt with. Instead of you coming back here and finding out for yourself, you accept the rumors. But like I said, you're in the hands of the Most High. And this is the truth. And you will hear it.
Where you brothers got all that information from. But whoever was telling you that day is lying. We're still here. And we're happy. And this is the day I've been looking for, man, when all the Lord bring all the disciples, all 12 of them, together. Although there's still a few missing, but the Lord know who they is, and He's gonna bring them in. But as far as the rumor, me and the Apostle Chief High Priest Arya not being here, we've been here since we've been here, since the Lord brought us in the truth. We've never been out, you know. So I don't know where I get there from.
You know, the rebel out of his own mouth is calling Arya and Shah men of God. Apostle Arya and Apostle Shah men of God. And got the nerve to say, we not with y'all. Why wouldn't you be with the men of God? Dummy! And y'all can't understand this, man. If you know they're men of God, what are you doing not being with the men of God? Does that make any sense? Then you've seen other people also testifying that we are the men of God. Now, why is all this being done? Why are people doing this? Because we are fulfilling prophecy. Because the Lord said they would do this. God made you say that, rebel. He made you confess so you can be set up. He's setting you up, man. The scripture says every idle word that come out of your mouth you should give account of in the day of judgment. When you stand before Christ in the day of judgment, He's going to ask you, if you knew who the men of God were, why didn't you follow them? And what you going to say then, Negro? The scripture says you ain't going to have a damn thing to say. It said every mouth going to be shut because you knew that you're going to be guilty. It says that you're going to be speechless. How you going to say confess that that's a man of God, then come right back and say, but we not with them? You're not with the man of God. Then who are you with? If you're not with the men of God, then who are you with? See, this is a question we got to ask ourselves. And this is a question that everybody that's watching this tape got to ask themselves. If they're not with the men of God, then who are they with? Either you're going to be with God or you're going to be with Satan. That's clear, ain't it? So if you're not with God and with the men of God, you are with Satan. Bottom line.
Okay, with that, here's the part of the story about the brawl, which to my knowledge GMS has not shared. After the DVD came out, the group now called GMS, Proto-GMS, felt embarrassed and their demeanor became much more hostile. So on the day that the fight occurred, the group now called GMS was holding camp on 125th Street in Harlem. and they actually had an interaction with a member of the ICGJC. While expressing their displeasure with the DVD, things got heated, and while it's not clear what exactly happened, from the perspective of that member of the ICGJC, Proto-GMS tried to get rough with him. Now, his perspective is relevant because that man happened to be the biological brother of Tazadakia. So he went back to the main school and he told his brother, Tazadakia, what had happened. And apparently, as things unfolded quickly, the understanding of the men that were about to head out there was that Proto-GMS put their hands on the man. Now, at this point, it should be noted that there is considerable historical precedent for the ICGJC sending out a group of men to confront an outsider who just messed with one of their members, much less Tazadakia's own biological sibling. Keep in mind that Roha himself was a former member of the original school at One West, and he himself was part of situations where if an outsider messed with a member of the school, a large group of men was sent out from the school to confront that person. In fact, here's a clip of Roha and Tahar recounting that reality about the main school.
Years ago, we called them missions. Like if somebody messed with a brother, we would call the whole school, all the camps. We were big back then. So we might have like 1,000 dudes and we would march on motherfuckers, man. And we wouldn't do nothing. Well, whatever.
Just show the power that what can happen to your neighborhood.
And we would roll up on them and say, look, man, you the Israelite brothers, don't mess with no Israelite brothers. Or if you see the brothers on the table, don't fuck with no Israelite brothers, man. And niggas would back up.
So with all that, to recap, here is my understanding of the brawl and the events which led up to it. First, at a time when Proto-GMS was more ecumenical and cordial towards other Israelite groups, Tazadakia recorded a conversation with Roha in which Roha shared some erroneous rumors he had heard and also acknowledged Shar and Arya as men of the Lord, despite the fact that he himself was not in the same group as those men. Second, the ICGJC included that footage in the Purge Out the Rebels DVD, with Shar and Arya rebutting the rumors and Tazadakia using Roha's declaration that Shar and Arya were men of the Lord against him and against their group. Third, after Proto-GMS became aware of the DVD, they were filled with embarrassment and rage, which changed their demeanor towards the ICGJC. Fourth, a subsequent interaction with a member of the ICGJC was taken by Proto-GMS as an opportunity to express their anger, and things quickly got ugly. They may have even got physical with the man. That ICGJC member happened to be a biological brother of Tazadakia. Fifth, Tazadakia's brother tells Tazadakia that Proto-GMS tried to get rough with him, and just as the school would send out groups of men to confront those who messed with members back when Roha and Tahar were part of the school, so too on this occasion, the school sent out a group of men to confront Proto-GMS. However, instead of it merely resulting in a warning being given, in this case, an actual fight broke out. By the way, neither Tahar nor Roha were present during the actual fight. Now, in closing, I want to note again that this is my fallible understanding of what happened. As I noted at the outset, there is a potential margin of error here, so I welcome comments from others who are familiar with the relevant encounter. On that note, I look forward to comments from anyone and everyone, and as always, God bless.